All right, so we're going to look at this side of the boat here today, looking at Hannah and Lily. I'm going to pick on you guys here and compare some different approaches to how we're keeping the blades up and off the water, particularly when the boat's rocking around a little bit. This is a start and first 20 strokes of I think it's the final piece in towards the dock at the end of the day. So I just wanted to point out some things here. So we're going to move to just about this spot. And then I want you to notice, I'm going to slow it down, and notice that the boat is down a little bit on this side. That's why we're splashing on the recovery on this side. See that? And so let's look at how Hannah is dealing with this. So as she gets to the catch, so she's recovering. And the blade's on the water because the boat's down to our side, down to the port side. So her blade's here, it's on the water. And so we're just going to sort of step forward. Still banging on the water. And as we get to the catch, in order to square it and put it in, she has to drop her hands a little bit. So that's what's happening right in here. So you can look at her hands here. And as we go forward, she's got to drop them just a little bit just to square. Now the nice thing is she doesn't drop them a ton. Let's look at where the blade is now. The blade is really close to the water. She didn't drop them a ton. She just dropped them just the amount she needed to get the blade square and put it in the water. Now it's going to go in the water. Now let's see what happens on the next recovery. See if we're still down to this side. We are. So we're still down. So keep looking at Hannah's blade, still dragging on the water, Big splash there. She's hitting Lily's puddle. The splash in the water where Lily took the stroke. Hannah's banging off Lily's puddle here. Bang, it's very, very disruptive, knocks her blade up into the air. But again, we're still pretty close to the water. A little bit of skying there, but you can see she's just about to put it in. Look how close it is. It's very, very close to the water. It's good. She's doing the best she can with the boat being down to her side on that recovery. Now, let's watch the very next stroke. Let's keep going. Now, this recovery, the boat is not down. The boat's not down to her side. She immediately feels that and recognizes it and gets her blade up and off the water. Now look. Right up and off the water. Let's keep going forward. It's going to stay off the water, off the water, off the water, still off the water. Squares it up, puts it in. No skying because it never went up in height. It stayed the same height the whole time. Squares it, puts it in. Okay? So Lily, now I'm going to pick on you. Let's look at that same recovery. The boat is not down to your side. So now I'm looking at Lily's oar here. Boat's not down to your side. Your blade comes out of the water and it's immediately on the water here. Immediately on the water. And we begin recovering, stays on the water. Again, so on the water, off the water. And what we'd want is for Lily's oar to be up off the water. Hannah might be a little too high off the water, but we're just coming off 2 strokes where she's down heavily on that port side. So maybe compensating a bit. And now, Lily, as we approach the catch, if we look at your blade, you're going to have to start picking that blade up. So the hands here are going to have to start going down. And that's where that habit of skying comes from, is having to get the hands down as we go to the catch. Now, Lily only has to do that because she spent the whole recovery on the water. But my point is she did not have to, as we can see right here. She didn't have to do that. She could have taken it off the water. And so what I'm looking for when I'm watching you guys row, I'm looking for the strokes where we're not down to your side. When we're not down to your side, how are you handling something like this, which is basically impossible when we are down to your side. And this is a really good example of the boat being down really heavily onto the port side. And Hannah's doing a great job of dealing with it, splashing heavily there, down again here. Now here comes the stroke where we're off, and she's up off the water. So really great job handling that there, and it's a really good example between Hannah and Lily here. Sorry, Lily, I have to pick on you about this, but it's a really good example of what to see here. Now we continue to not be down, and Lily's still dragging, and Hannah's up and off a lot better. So that's a little example of what I'm looking for on those recoveries.